Aurora made her attack first, but all of these attacks were just dodged by Shadow. She continued to attack him until Shadow had his chance to counter hers. And he immediately defeated Aurora with just one attack. Shadow left immediately after Aurora disappeared. The barrier in the arena gradually cracked, and when it was broken, a door to another dimension was formed. A large part of the city was filled with red light. Even though Shadow was already outside, the door in the arena appeared to him. Then he realized that it would not stop following him no matter where he went. As soon as he thought of the person he had fought, he decided to enter this door that would take him to another dimension. Nelson could not believe that the door to the sanctuary would appear immediately in the middle of the goddess trial just after Shadow's fight. Because this door is about to open, Nelson immediately informed that people were not allowed to come near it and just leave the arena. Alpha, Delta and Epsilon arrived with other Shadow Garden members. Alexia told them not to take any action until the door was behind. Delta immediately rushed Nelson and they both fought. She noticed something different and so did Alpha. It turned out that as they got closer to the center of the sanctuary, their power were being absorbed. And Nelson on the other hand was getting stronger as he got closer to the center. Nelson thought he had the advantage, but to his surprise, his female opponents were even stronger than he expected. Delta showed how strong she was as she used her iron slab and smashed Nelson's clones. Meanwhile, the other members of Shadow Garden wandered around the facility. Then they saw someone that looked like a zombie. As it approached them, Epsilon went near it. When they met, it became like the soul of a child and suddenly disappeared. They arrived at the location of the data on the experiments done by the cults. They found there the information that would help them in their investigation of the cults and the devils. While Cid and Aurora were brought to the place where the ancient battle took place. In the wide pit they saw the young Aurora again. Aurora borrowed Cid's sword, and when she was about to kill the young Aurora, she was suddenly attacked by those who died in the battle. Fortunately, Cid quickly saved her. One by one, the corpses that were lying earlier stood up and approached them. They fought against them and knocked down most of the corpses. Cid attacked the young Aurora with his sword, then they were transferred to the center of the sanctuary. They saw the sword that was the only thing that could break the chains that blocked the door. When Cid tried to pull out the sword, Aurora saw what was written below, that only the descendants of the owner of the sword could pull it out. Delta also continued to fight Nelson's other clones until they were returned to the area where Olivier's statue was built. Nelson got Olivier out while the group Epsilon came to inform Alpha that they had finished their investigation. They immediately left the area as Nelson and Olivier stayed behind. Suddenly, Nelson received information that someone had entered the center of the sanctuary. While Cid and Aurora were talking, Nelson and Olivier arrived. Cid immediately noticed that Nelson's female companion resembled Alpha. Nelson ordered Olivier to kill Cid, so she started to attack him. With Olivier's speed, she was able to hit Cid many times with her attacks. But Nelson was annoyed because Cid was still alive. Aurora stopped him from continuing the fight with Olivier. She told him that she would find other way for him to get out of the sanctuary. Then Nelson interrupted that if she cooperated with him, he would not let Cid live. She was about to agree to Nelson's offer, but Cid interrupted their conversation. He told them that he was insulted by what the two were talking about. He did not like how they made him appear as someone who could not beat Olivier and told him that he did not need Aurora's help. And because of Nelson's annoyance, he told Olivier to attack, so she stabbed Cid. But Cid smiled and opened one of his eyes. He grabbed Olivier and bit her, causing her to immediately disappear. As Cid approached Nelson, he released more of Olivier's clones. He ordered some of these clones to attack Cid at the same time. So Cid opened his eye and easily defeated them. Nelson was shocked when he saw Cid's weapon and that he was able to use magic. Cid told him that he just needed to make his magic more solid so that it would not be easily absorbed by the sanctuary. Nelson got pissed and ordered all clones to attack him at the same time. So Cid unleashed his great power while Alpha and other Shadow Garden members marveled as they watched outside. Even the two princesses were shocked by this extreme power. Cid saw the demon's broken arm bound and Aurora's face as well. Then he suddenly woke up next to her. When Aurora was about to touch him, her hand gradually disappeared. Before Aurora disappeared completely, she thanked Cid for the memory she had with him. Meanwhile, as they were walking back, Alexia had a lot going on in her mind about the things that happened, including the Shadow Garden and the cults. She wanted to gather more information on the things that happened in the ongoing battle. She offered Rose and Beta to work with her in what she planned to do. And both agreed with her. Epsilon gave a report to Alpha about the complete destruction of the sanctuary and the Holy Sword. She added that they were not able to recover a sample from its magical core. They also discussed Beta's mission to socialize with the princesses. Epsilon confirmed that their theory was also correct, that Aurora had another name and it was the demon Diablo. After that, Alpha asked her to prepare for their next mission, and it was to the royal capital of Midgar. As their mission continued, Gamma talked to an agent who was selling land in Madlid. While this agent was encouraging her to buy the land, Niu entered and informed her that it was confirmed that there was petroleum in the area. Gamma immediately agreed to agent's offer and purchased the land. Niu also ordered others to begin purchasing lands around the Nile River. Gamma announced to Alpha the upcoming visit of the Royal Chancellor of Oriana, named Perv Asshat, to the royal capital of Midgar. While bathing, Alexia and her sister Iris talked about what happened in the sacred land. What they discussed included the upcoming visit of the King of Oriana, who was one of the allies of their kingdom. Iris also mentioned the upcoming Bushin festival that she planned to participate in because she wanted to win it. If she succeeded, she could get the full support of the people and made their father or the king and the high officials to listen to what she wanted to say. Alexia worried that the cults and the Shadow Garden members might be involved in the Bushin festival again. But Iris was not swayed by this, even though she knew that the members of the Shadow Garden, especially Shadow, possessed great power. In case the cults and Shadow Gardens interfere with the Bushin festival, they must be defeated. While Rose was on her training, she suddenly felt something in her chest and was surprised by what she saw there. At the beginning of the Bushin festival, those who wanted to participate in it came from different places. Meanwhile, Cid was just at the top of a building and watched those who wanted to join. He also planned to join it and would just pretend to be a weak participant, so that the viewers would be surprised by what he would show in the contest. He went to Gamma and asked her help with his plan to change his appearance. So she brought out Beta's invention, which was able to change a person's entire appearance. She also recommended the persona of Mundane Man, and Cid agreed to it. After the session, they succeeded in copying the exact face and body of Mundane Man. While Cid was outside in the person of Mundane Man, he met Anne Rose. Because of Cid's appearance, Anne Rose advised him not to participate in the Bushin festival. So Cid answered and told her not to judge a person by the outward appearance, and then he left. But he actually liked Anne Rose's reaction because he succeeded in his disguise. He was stopped by a man who introduced himself as Quentin, who always participated in the Bushin festival. Quentin told him that he did not want to see weaklings like him. But he got angry when he was told that he was even weaker. He beat Cid, who was just pretending to be hurt in Quentin's punches. But Anne Rose spoke and asked him to stop, so Quentin left and Anne Rose approached Cid. She intended to heal the injuries he suffered, but she was told that he no longer needed it. Before Cid left, they introduced themselves to each other. After he registered in the contest, he met and talked to Skell. Skell planned to bet on the battles that would take place at the Bushin festival. Since the contest would begin in the preliminary, he would get there the data of his potential participants. He also told Cid the possible winners in the tournament, and these include Iris and Rose. In the evening, while Cid was on his way home, he met Rose. She mentioned to him that her father introduced her to her fiancé, who was Perv Asshat. Then Rose stated to reveal her reason why she chose to hold the sword. She also disobeyed the wishes of the people around her to follow the art and culture for which their area was known. She added that her interest in holding a sword started when he was saved by a man who also uses a sword. Before Rose left, she asked Cid if he would trust her no matter what happens. Cid said yes to Rose and gave her the food he bought. The next day, Skell took Cid to watch the battle in the preliminary. As he said, he needed to collect the data for potential participants that he could bet on. Then they met Gold Yu, who was also one of the participants, and he offered to help Skell in choosing the strongest participants. Cid left for a while because Mundane Man would fight next and his opponent was named Gonzalez. Goldu said that as far as he could observe, Gonzalez had a power level of 1364 while Mundane Man has only a power level of 33. When the fight started, they were all surprised when Gonzalez fell first. With the speed of Mundane's attack, other people did not see it, but Anaros did. Out of embarrassment, Goldu tried to reason for his miscalculations, but he assured on Skell that things would change since he would fight Mundane tomorrow. So he told Skell that he should know already who he would bet on. When Cid returned, Skell immediately asked him for funds to bet tomorrow because they would surely win. While Cid was resting, Skell hurriedly went to his room to show him the content of the newspaper. The news was about Rose, who allegedly stabbed her fiancé, Perv Asshat, and her whereabouts was not yet known. After finding out what happened to Rose, Alexia and Beta immediately met to discuss it. They learned that the Kingdom of Oriana did not want the Kingdom of Midgar to interfere in the resolution of this case. They were worried that Rose might be subjected to severe punishment because Rose's fiancé was the son of a Duke of Oriana. They just felt relieved knowing that this would not lead to the death penalty because Rose was a princess. Alexia wanted to see and to talk to Rose to know her side before Oriana's soldiers capture her. Beta told her that she would gather information. She also heard things that were not good about Rose's fiancé, so she would look into it as well. While Alexia would try to talk to Iris to ask for advice. After Alexia left, Beta ordered a Shadow Garden member to give Alexia information about Perv Asshat and the Oriana royal family. So Alexia would be busy thinking more about it and could not act immediately. Meanwhile, Rose was currently in an underground tunnel because of the complex passages there. She chose it as a good hiding place. Cid and Skell watched the contest, and when Cid came downstairs he met a woman who told him that she could smell an elf on him. The woman told him that she was looking for her sister's daughter and maybe he knew an elf who looked like her. When the woman removed her hood, Cid immediately thought of Alpha. But Cid answered that he did not know anyone who looked like her. Then suddenly she attacked Cid, who pretended to be shocked and scared. The woman thought he was strong, but she made a mistake and helped Cid to get up. So he asked for her name and she introduced herself as Beatrix. While Anna Rose was watching the contest, Quentin approached her and they talked about the Mundane Man's fight the other day. They also mentioned Goldu, who would compete with Mundane on this day. According to Anna Rose, Goldu was known as the Unbeaten Legend because he retreated immediately when he knew that his opponent was stronger than him. She knew this because they would have faced each other 3 times in the tournament, but he always backed out before their match. They thought that he had a strong sense on the participant's ability, which could be the reason why he did not back down from Mundane Man. When the fight started, Goldu immediately attacked, but Mundane was able to dodge it. Goldu saw what could happen to him if he continued, so he immediately retreated. Quentin did not see what Mundane did, but Anna Rose only heard something snapping on Mundane's neck. Goldu was very angry because Mundane did not even show frustration at the wasted opportunity to defeat him. So he used the golden dragon blade to finish off his opponent, but when he got close, Mundane just sneezed and shoved him back. Because of this, Mundane Man has won and people could not believe the quick turn of events. Anna Rose tried to reason by saying that maybe Mundane was not used to the shiny armor of Goldie, so he sneezed. Quentin did not believe it this time and said that if Mundane keeps winning, he would face him in the preliminary finals. He left. Iris talked to Perv Asshat and asked him if he was sure that he did not need additional security to protect him. Perv Asshat understood what Iris was doing because of the abduction of Alexia. While the King of Oriana repeatedly mentioned to follow the orders of Perv Asshat. But his words annoyed Iris so much. When the preliminary finals came, Mundane quickly defeated Quentin. Because of this, Mundane was already in the main tournament and he would face Anna Rose in the first round. The viewers were confused whether to bet on Mundane or not. Meanwhile, Rose was seen by those who were looking for her and she was forced to fight them. Although she hit the guards with her sword, she made sure not to hit its vitals. She also immediately ran because others were approaching and continued chasing her. While Cid was thinking about the upcoming contest, Skell visited him to show the reward to whoever could catch or could provide information on Rose's whereabouts. Skell wanted them to do it so they could get the reward. When Cid saw Claire entering the house, he immediately got dressed and pulled Skell out to start their operation to find Rose. Skell did not know that this was just a way for Cid to pass the time while his sister was still not in good mood. Then he heard the sound of a piano and remembered his past life as a good pianist too. While listening to it, he realized that it was his favorite Moonlight Sonata. He immediately wondered why anyone in this world knew the Moonlight Sonata, so he also thought that the person playing it might be reincarnated like him. When he entered the building, it was just Epsilon who also applied what she learned from him. After she played the piano, they talked and she mentioned that she had received an award from the royal family because of her piano performance. She informed Cid that she was also invited by the Kingdom of Oriana. Similarly, it was an opportunity for her to do both her career as pianist and her duties as a member of the Shadow Garden. So Cid asked her if she knew or had any information about Rose's whereabouts. Since Beta was assigned about it, Epsilon did not have much information, but she only knew that Rose was hiding in an underground tunnel. So Cid bid goodbye and left to continue the search. Meanwhile, Beta and Alexia met to discuss the status of their search for Rose. Alexia mentioned what Iris said about what she noticed. The King of Oriana seemed strange when her sister went to see him. Beta asked her where the stairs would lead them. Then Alexia answered that it was going to the underground tunnel and they would try to find Rose there. Rose on the other hand was getting weak from fighting those who wanted to seize her. At that moment, she remembered the times in their palace when she saw her father who was acting strange and not himself anymore. She immediately found out that this was done by Perv and that other officials in the kingdom were involved in doing this to the king. In her anger she attacked Perv, who got injured, and she realized that she fell into their trap so they could arrest her. She knew that Perv was a member of the cult and its other members were currently scattered in the kingdom of Oriana. She was thinking of giving up because the innocent soldiers of their kingdom who were dragged into this situation were only following orders and were hurt by her. He remembered Cid and how he told her that he trusted her. Suddenly she felt excruciating pain from her chest because of the curse on her body. When she heard the Moonlight Sonata, she stood up and continued walking. In the distance, she was surprised to see Shadow playing the piano. While she was clapping at the beautiful music, Shadow stood up and asked her about her current plans. Rose sadly replied that she wanted to protect her loved ones, but she could not do anything in her current situation. Hearing this from her, he decided to give her power, and the curse on her body disappeared. After a while, those chasing her appeared to attack her. She then tried the power that Shadow gave to her. Alexia felt the great power somewhere, so she hurried to go to where it was. Then she saw Rose walking towards them, so they approached her. Alexia wanted to know the real reason why she did that to Perv, but Rose did not want to answer it because she did not want them to be involved in this mess. But Alexia got angry and attacked, which caused the fight between them. A few moments later, Beta saw Rose coming and carrying Alexia, who was unconscious. She left Alexia on Beta's care. Before she could leave, Beta told her that she would not stop her from what she wanted to do and hoped that she succeed on her plans. After what she said, Rose immediately left. When Cid returned to his lodging, Claire was still there patiently waiting for him. In Claire's anger, she strangled him, and only then he realized that his sister's anger was getting worse as time went on. She gave him a ticket for the Bushin Festival for him to watch the fight because she would be representing their school instead of Rosé. One day, Alexia visited Beta in her office, but she had already left. She was informed that Beta had to do research abroad but left her an envelope containing information about the Kingdom of Oriana that Alexia could use. The main tournament of the Bushin Festival had started, and Cid did not expect that it was a VIP ticket that he received from Claire. He also saw Iris there, and they were sitting next to each other. Iris apologized to Cid for mistaking him of Alexia's disappearance before, which was Zenon's doing. They talked about Alexia and he told her about what she did to him before. She mentioned that she wanted to see someone, but it was not a participant in the Bushin Festival. It was the elf swordmaster called the War Goddess. Her name was Beatrix, who won the Bushin Festival for the first time, and it was possible that she was there somewhere in the area. Cid suddenly remembered the elf he knew who looked like Alpha. Then he excused himself for a while because his match would be announced next. While walking he felt a great power. It turned out to be Beatrix, and she asked him again if he had seen an elf that looked like her. She said that she might find there what she was looking for because there were many people attended the contest. Perv approached Iris and they talk about the ongoing fight between Anaros and Mundane Man. Iris mentioned that even though Mundane looks weak, she was still not sure that Anaros would win because Mundane Man seemed not bothered by his fight. Anaros remembered Mundane's past battles and she knew that he had not yet unleashed his true strength. When the fight started, Anaros immediately attacked, but Mundane was able to block and avoid it. After a while, Mundane started to attack, and she was surprised by its speed. So she prepared a counter on Mundane's next attack. After his attack, she did not expect that he was able to calculate the right distance to avoid her counterattack. This was the reason why Anaros was defeated and Mundane won the fight. Iris was impressed by this, but they could not believe how Mundane managed to win. They also noticed his unique style of holding the sword. Since the next fight was between her and Mundane, she felt that Mundane was still hiding something, but she did not want to lose in their fight. When Iris left, Perv also left the errand and ordered his staff to find out more about Mundane because he suspected that he was from the underworld. Meanwhile, Anaros approached Mundane to congratulate him on winning in their match. She offered him to go with her in Velgalta, but he refused and told her that he might not fit in there. After Iris defeated her opponent, she saw Beatrix leaving the arena, so she chased after her. When she approached her in the plaza, Beatrix offered her some food. The next day, Cid returned to the VIP's place to watch the contest. Iris also arrived to watch, and a few minutes later they saw Beatrix being prevented from entering by the guards. Iris went to them and told the guards that she was the one who invited her. The guards were surprised to learn that this woman was Beatrix. While Perv continued in giving Rose's father the medicine so they could easily control him. Together with the King of Midgar, they would also watch the contest. Perv's staffs had finished searching about Mundane's background, but they failed to get any information. This confirmed his suspicion that Mundane might actually be from the underworld. When they passed in front of Beatrix, he was told by her that he smelled bad. In Perv's anger, he ordered her out of the arena, but when Iris said Beatrix's name, he was surprised and let it go. He wondered why Beatrix was there and wanted to kill her too. But he did not know how to do it because he knew that she was skilled than Iris. Claire's fight was over and next was the fight between Mundane and Iris. When the fight started, Iris felt strange that she was attacked by him caused her to retreat immediately. Her imagination continued that she was constantly being hit by Mundane's attacks. When Rose arrived at the arena of the Bushin Festival, she saw the dead bodies of the cultists on the floor. Then Beta and other Shadow Garden members showed up and told her to continue what she intended to do. Iris noticed that with every slight movement of Mundane's arm she felt that she was being attacked. The audience began to notice how Iris reacted and thought that she was scared. This pissed her off, so she released her intense power and immediately rushed at Mundane. When she was close to Mundane, she noticed that he was not holding his sword, which Mundane was holding earlier. He dodged her attack and managed to knock her down as well. When his sword was pointed at her and since her sword was also destroyed, Mundane was declared the winner in the fight. The King of Midgar left immediately and Perv got worried about what he saw. While Beatrix was amazed at Mundane's technique, she also said that she wanted to fight him. Rose suddenly appeared and confronted Perv and his father. She apologized to her father for the things she did. Suddenly, her father spoke and said that he forgave her, which surprised Perv. Then Rose suddenly attacked, but Perv immediately turned Rose's father into a shield, causing him to be stabbed by her instead. After the death of her father, she intended to end her life too. Perv immediately ordered his men to stop her from doing it to herself. Suddenly, Mundane intervened and killed Perv's guards. Rose remembered the man who saved her when she was young and inspired her to wield a sword. After Mundane transformed back into Shadow, Rose recognized him as the stylish bandit slayer. She told the story when she met this stylish bandit slayer. She was amazed as Shadow was trying to fight against evil, but she felt embarrassed because she chose to kill herself to end the pain she felt. But Shadow told her that her battle was not over yet. Then she looked at her father who was lying on the ground. She ran to escape and Shadow stopped Perv from chasing after her. When Perv called his other guards, it turned out that all of them were killed by Beta and the others. Beatrix suddenly attacked Shadow, and with the great force of the impact from the attack, the building was gradually being destroyed, so Perv immediately left there. Their fight continued at the top of a building. Shadow suddenly disappeared and went to Beatrix's back, which surprised her by his speed. Iris came with the mithril blade and told Beatrix that they will fight together against him. She used the power of the mithril blade twice on him, but he just dodged it both times. Beatrix attacked him and their fight continued. When Rose was far away, she met Alpha. She offered Rose to choose whether she would fight alone to save the kingdom of Oriana or she would cooperate with the Shadow Garden. Since Rose could feel that the Shadow Garden could help her to save Oriana, she chose to cooperate with the group. On the other hand, the fight still between Shadow and Beatrix continued until they reached in other parts of the city. Iris told Beatrix that she would do anything to stop him and she wanted her to take this opportunity to attack Shadow. While they were doing this plan, it still did not work because of his strength and speed, causing them to be both beaten by him. When Iris and Beatrix stood up, Shadow released a strong power that stunned the two while watching him. Suddenly the whole city lit up and then Shadow disappeared from their sight. Iris was so annoyed on the outcome of the fight, that all she could do was to burst into tears. While Beatrix decided to left Midgar even though she had not yet found her niece. Beta said that Shadow succeeded in making Midgar busy in their search for him. In this case, Midgar would not be involved in the chaos in Oriana. A few days later, students began to be admitted back to school. And Shadow continued to pretend as an ordinary and weak student. On the other hand, Alpha took Rose and they went straight to the ancient capital Alexandria where the Shadow Garden's hideout was located. Alpha told Lambda to train Rose until she developed her true abilities. So Lambda called their two members to let them know that Rose would be included in their group. And this was the end of Season 1 of the Eminence in Shadow.
How was the video? We hope it was good. If so, please check these videos. Also, please comment down your thoughts and your suggestions for future videos. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing now to show the support to our channel. We hope to see you soon with another video right in this channel. Have a nice day.